You guys for tuning in to another segment of the Sit Down with Malik Wright, presented by First Star Logistics. I'm currently under the weather, but you know what? We're still going to do it. Call this my flu game. We got to discuss Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers seem to have unraveled completely. Doesn't matter if Mitchell Trubisky is their quarterback or Kenny Pickett is their quarterback, or if they change offensive coordinators, it just ain't working right now. The Pittsburgh Steelers lack offensive creativity. Um, they got absolutely thrashed by Bailey Zappi and the New England Patriots, at least for the first quarter. They look completely out of sorts. And this is the Pittsburgh Steelers that were at home. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers team that was at home. That's not what we're accustomed to. We're not used to seeing the Pittsburgh Steelers struggle at home. So to see that, it brings up the question, has Mike Tomlin's message grown stale? Has the Steelers way grown stale? You know, he used to say the standard is the standard, but right now I don't know if the Pittsburgh Steelers have a standard. We're so used to the Pittsburgh Steelers being the team that finds a way into the playoffs, a team under Mike Tomlin that has never had a losing season. Now, they're looking at themselves squarely in the mirror, and both of those things look like that they can come true this year. We could see the Pittsburgh Steelers miss the playoffs. We could see the Pittsburgh Steelers have a losing record. And you've got to wonder. I know people are saying, well, it's Kenny Pickett he has, right? And I set up on this YouTube channel a while back, roll the clip.
I didn't say Kenny Pickett would never be good. I never said Kenny Pickett wouldn't be average. I never said Kenny Pickett would win the Pittsburgh Steelers games. I said he would never be elite, and he won't be. Kenny Pickett is not an elite quarterback. That's fine. There aren't a lot of elite quarterbacks in the National Football League.
And I said Kenny Pickett would never be elite. And I got a lot of backlash. It's probably one of our most commented on YouTube videos. And just because you knew what you had in the guy. It took the guy until his final year in college to even dominate the competition. And even that was meh. The fact of the matter is, this is the Steelers organization. The GM Khan, Mike Tomlin, they drafted this kid. They said, hey, this is the guy that is going to replace Ben Roethlisberger. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense has put up historic numbers under Kenny Pickett, and not the good kind. So you have to ask yourselves, and I think my man Ryan Clark said it best. He said, when you don't have those vets to rely on, like the Troy Polamalos, right? Like the James Farriers, like the James Harrisons. When you don't have those guys no longer in the locker room, you get a product that looks like this. You know, one of the notions a lot with Mike Tomlin was he inherited Bill Cowher's team. And that's why they were able to be so successful. Then obviously they drafted Antonio Brown, who was great for them before, everything else happened. They drafted Le'Veon Bell, who was great for them before, everything else happened. But you have to wonder, is Mike Tomlin's career, right? Is his run as the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach a little bit flawed? We're talking about a team that hasn't won a playoff game since God knows when.
7 years.
So these are questions that need to be asked. While it's impressive that you guys have never had a losing season, maybe that has come back to bite them in the you-know-what. Because then this is a team that's committed to retooling this football team instead of fully committing to a rebuild, and then you get a product that looks like this. The offensive line, meh. Outside of T.J. Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Alex Highsmith, once again, a pick that they found themselves, with, if you will. It looks like this. You're calling linebackers to come out of retirement after they said they were going to go be plumbers and stuff like that to come play for you guys and all this good stuff. It looks like this. It makes you wonder, though. You've got to wonder. Have the Pittsburgh Steelers hit a wall with Mike Tomlin as the head football coach? I certainly have thoughts, but before I finish those thoughts, Daniel, what say you?
I think it's very possible that they hit this wall. And while you were talking, I kind of had a revelation. I think that these older coaches, the Mike Tomlins, the Bill Belichick's, the Ron Rivera's, I think they might just be stuck in their own way. And it's not, to say that they can't be good head coaches, but all these other coaches are passing them up. And it's also, something that Mike Tomlin said himself, and I think it's something we pride ourselves on the show is, hey, we address problems, but we also give solutions, right? So for the Steelers fans, the problem, in my opinion, is culture, one. And two, I just think your roster construction. I look at Omar Khan as a huge issue, right? He was the right-hand man to Kevin Colbert when Kenny Pickett was drafted. How was that the quarterback you're rolling with? Also, the same guy who gave the biggest contract to a backup quarterback in NFL history, to Mitchell Trubisky. How is that the guy that you guys are rolling with? So for me, what can the Steelers do? I think that they do need a change. In my opinion, I think that you have to surround your offense with talent. And because this is an offense-driven league, and for my analysis on what I see these other teams doing, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Cincinnati Bengals, these teams, the 49ers, the Philadelphia Eagles, how they're winning football games is they're winning with creativity on offense. They're winning with a dominant offensive line. They're winning with a dominant defensive line. You got the defensive line, but you have nothing else. So I still think Mike Tomlin, I'm not ready to say he should be fired. They're a 7-6 football team. I understand the concerns, but for my, solution is, hey, roll with Mike Tomlin. You just fired your offensive coordinator. Roll with Mike Tomlin and build this offense in free agency. Build this offense in the draft. And I would really look at your quarterback position and I would see if there's a way to upgrade. I would look at maybe, hell, what if it's a Justin Fields? You go out, trade for somebody, and that might be a slap to Omar Khan's face because he drafted Kenny Pickett, but something needs to change. And in my opinion, you need more firepower in offense. You need an offensive line. And that's what I would do this offseason. Maybe I'm in the wrong for saying I would keep Mike Tomlin, but if they finish above 500, if they finish right around there, I still think, hey, Mike Tomlin's still a fine head coach. I think it's this roster that's causing a lot of problems. And like I said, they're 7-6 right now. They're a mediocre team. I think they need more talent on offense, and I'm not a huge believer in Kenny Pickett, so that's what I would change.
Well, let's be honest with you
Yeah.
for a second. I don't blame Omar Khan for drafting Kenny Pickett. I don't blame Mike Tomlin for drafting Kenny Pickett. I blame the Pittsburgh Steelers faithful for them drafting Kenny Pickett. Let's face it. They needed a quarterback after Ben Roethlisberger retired, and everybody collectively were clamoring for the only quarterback in that draft class that showed some type of something.
Yeah.
And everybody was clamoring for the hometown kid that played at the University of Pittsburgh, that knows Pittsburgh. He's one of us Yinzers, in Kenny Pickett. And so in a year where the quarterback class was down, I remember Carson Strong, when we talked to him at the combine, he was scoffed that people were so low on this quarterback class, and he said, we'll show them. Well, this quarterback class was bad, but I feel that in a year in which they needed to draft a quarterback, and there were certainly quarterbacks that they could have drafted, it would just be their luck that would be the year that Kenny Pickett would be considered one of the top tier quarterbacks in that draft class. And there's a quarterback class that was absolutely down. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers faithful and everybody was clamoring for this guy that they saw play at the University of Pittsburgh. It was where a need was met head on, basically, and it just made sense. So I don't blame them for drafting Kenny Pickett.
See, and this is where I think it's a very interesting. I think the Patriots and the Steelers have such interesting parallels. The same could be said with Mac Jones. And I think that's what is, you look at these organizations, they're stuck in their own way. The Patriots, I thought Mac Jones was a great pick. I thought he fits in the Patriots system. I thought that Bill Belichick, that's the type of quarterback he wants to run, and it would work with old Patriots. Same thing with the Steelers. Who says Kenny Pickett can't be like a Ben Roethlisberger? Couldn't have worked in the past. He could have. And I think that's what, maybe I'm wrong for thinking that they might just need a clean house, because we're having the same conversation with the Patriots. Something needs to change. They're stuck in their own ways, and they think they can win the same way they won 7 years ago, 8 years, and 9 years ago, and it's just not working.
I do think it's important that ideas stay fresh. I do think it's important that you continue to adapt and you continue to change consistently. I think it's super important. I think it's uber important. And I think that if a team is going to continue to, get better and evolve and be up there with the upper echelon teams, you need this, right? You need this. The fact of the matter is the Pittsburgh Steelers needed to adapt a long, long time ago. But the fact of the matter is they didn't, right? And it's almost like, it's funny, their offense was very high potent with Ben Roethlisberger before his elbow injury. And then it went back to the old Pittsburgh Steelers offense, heavy run game, short dink and dunk passes, and it just never evolved past that because it was still trying to cater to Ben Roethlisberger's style of play. And I think that Kenny Pickett is a guy that he has a style of play that is very similar to the dink and dunk, but he also likes to air it out when the time comes. But the fact of the matter is, you have receivers like George Pickens who struggle to create separation, right? You have Deontay Johnson who gives up on routes at points in time. So like it's a lot of things that they don't it's a lot of pieces that they have on this team that just aren't significant pieces to the puzzle. And it's funny, it's like George Pickens, all the while the guy makes a lot of contested catches. One could say he is a more highly touted praised Chase Claypool. Someone could say that.
Yep.
You can make that same argument because these are some of the same arguments that people had about Chase Claypool. He lacks separation, yada, yada, yada. But this is the mold that the Pittsburgh Steelers have gone with as of recently. So that's just my thoughts process on it. I don't think it's time to move on from Mike Tomlin. I do think that they do need a significant change, if you ask me. Very curious to hear what you guys think in the comment section. If you like more video content like this, give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live.